Hi, Ewan.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm
Okay,
good.
I'm
Thank you.
going to make my little Spanish introduction and then we'll switch to English again. Um, Hola, ¿cómo están? Bueno, yo estoy muy emocionada porque tengo a Ewan. Yo lo admiro hace demasiado tiempo. Lo conocí en Escocia hace 2 años. Y nada, voy a tratar de tener el inglés más decente. Si me equivoco, me disculpan. Y voy a tratar de entender a Ewan. ¿Ok? Back to English. So basically, I was saying that I'm going to try my best to speak English and to understand your English. And yeah, so uh, I think, if I'm correct, that we have like a similar start in pet photography. We were not planning this, it
Yeah.
just like kind of happened. So, can you tell us how you ended up being a pet photographer?
So we used to help with the boxer rescue. We used to help with rehomings, the admin. We used to help with everything. And one of the things I loved was taking images of the dogs for rehoming. So I started taking images for the rescue of the dogs needing homes. And people started saying you should do this professionally. And I always said, it's a stupid idea. It would never work. Then eventually I just decided I might as well give it a try. Then it went from there.
Okay,
Originally,
what were you doing like before?
before.
Like before starting taking photos, like were you thinking that you were going to go another like route?
So I did mathematics at university. So I have a mathematics degree. Um, I hated it, so I'm glad I never used it. And once I graduated from university, I was living with my wife who has muscular dystrophy and she needs help doing things day to day. So I couldn't work a 9 to 5 job and I was just caring for Claire full time. So I was
It
kind of a
makes
bit of a
sense.
loose end. So yeah,
Yeah.
worked out good.
Okay, and talking about Claire, because you in your social media you say a lot that she's like the one that made you, not, I'm not sure if the one that made you do this, but she has a lot to do with you becoming a pet photographer.
Yeah, if I never met Claire, I'd probably be doing something for my mathematics degree. I can't see how I get to this point without Claire being in my life. And she always sort of pushed me as well. So if it wasn't for Claire, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm not sure
Oh,
what I'd do, but yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to try to I mean, of course, you you have like a super successful business right now. You did this Shutterhound talk last year
Yep.
and it was amazing. And now you're having your retreat. It's May, next May, right?
Yeah, it's a week Saturday. So yeah,
A
less than
week
2 weeks.
from now?
Yeah, well, a week on Saturday. So less than 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah, 2 weeks. So that's great. Like your whole path that you were not planning, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, I'd never think get to go to Vegas. That's just insane. And people want to come here to learn from me, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. So it's interesting how life kind of like takes you where you need to be, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's, and speaking in Vegas is something that I never thought I'd be comfortable with. I always find that terrifying, but I really enjoyed it because I love what I do. I love pet photography. I love speaking about it. So it was really nice to do that. Whereas in the past, it's something I don't think I'd ever be able to do, but because I love this so much, it
Yeah.
was really fun. It was really good.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I wanted to just like let everybody know how I met you. Um so I think like I discovered your work, of course, maybe social media. I'm pretty sure it was social media. And I remember when the Barklander opportunity came to my life, I was like, oh, perfect. Maybe because I knew you had a studio in Scotland. So I was like, maybe if I Google the address, I can just like cross and see the studio. That was like my plan. And I think you closed it or something. You had like another studio.
Yeah. So the landlord sold the building. So yeah, we lost the
Okay.
studio when
Okay. Yeah. So my plan was completely ruined because I was like, where am I going to find him? Like, I have no idea how to find him. And I remember that when I arrived, uh, everything was like in that trip for me, it was really weird because things were not happening like the way it was like supposed to happen. I was supposed to have like an individual room in Barklander, but Nicole thought that I was having like a roommate. So she put me with Sarah. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to meet like people, you know? And Sarah told me, I'm going to pick you up, but I need to go to you once to pick some lights or something. And I was like, who? And she was like, do you know monthly snaps? And I was like, no way. I'm going to get to see the studio. I was like, this is so crazy. So like everything was like that. Um and we went to your studio and I met your cats and it
Yep.
was amazing because I had to like it was for me it was something amazing because I wasn't expecting that because I thought I was not going to cross near your studio. So it was really amazing. And then all my after Barklander plans fell off and we ended up going to Edinburgh Castle together. So it's like everything was like really, I don't know, it was unexpected, but I'm really grateful that it happened because then I went to Nara retreat and I spent like a lot of time with you guys. So it's nice. And then I saw you in
Yes.
Shatterhouse.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, so it's been like a unexpected path for both of us. We both have like the love of cats,
Yeah.
and a lot of people ask me like if we love more cats than dogs, and if we like more photographing cats or dogs. So your turn to answer that.
Okay. I probably prefer photographing dogs, mainly because I do it in my studio. And when cats get brought here, it's quite stressful for them.
Mhm.
I think if I was going into the cat's home, it would be much better. But cats don't tend to get taken places other than the vet and places they don't enjoy going to. So it's quite stressful for them coming here. So
Okay. So
I find that
you don't do sorry. Uh you don't it's not something usual to do like in home shoots?
no, it's not something I do. It's something
Hmm.
I might think about doing if I want to do more cats. I think it would be better for the cats if I went to the house.
Yeah.
But my all-time favorite client is a cat. So my favorite client of all time is a cat.
Really?
Pudding Sphinx, yeah, 6.
That's the studio that I was and it was amazing. Oh my
So
god.
Pudding's my favorite client. He's the reason we have cats, and
Oh really?
yeah, because he's so cool. He's just so nice.
Tell us about him.
So I photographed some images for a vet once, and he'd won the competition to come along for the images. And I'd never met a Sphinx before, and from that day I was just obsessed. He's so confident. He gets taken everywhere. Nothing
Oh,
bothers him. So he's came to the studio. We took him to the Kelpies, which are giant horsehead
what?
sculptures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember about the couples, but did you photograph him there?
Yeah, he was sitting in a little seat, quite the thing. It was really cool.
Wow. So yeah, he's not your regular cat.
No, he's really confident and quite dog-like, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's the
Okay.
reason we have the cats.
And then you got your two boys.
Yeah,
Why
because
did
we
you decided to get those cats? I it was the first time for me that I saw it's Devon no, how
Devon
was
Rex.
Devon
Rex.
Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with a Sphinx, they need bathed. They need to wash them once a week, and they're quite high maintenance. Whereas the Devon Rex has a bit of a coat, so they're not quite as oily. So they're less high maintenance, but they're also really sociable and fun, and they're just really nice
Yeah.
cats. They're They're not
There
hide away cats. They're in your face 24/7.
yeah.
Everything we do, the cats are there. So they're always following us around. They're always sitting on top of you. They're always
Yeah.
causing trouble. They're fun. They're just really nice wee guys.
And you just made like a catio, right? In your
Yeah.
studio. I saw that. Yeah. So because of what you're saying, that they are always with you guys.
Yeah. So in the summer, it gets really hot in the studio. And if they were in here, we can't open the doors. So with the catio, we can open the doors. The cats can be in here. They can come and go as they please.
Yeah.
And just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great idea, actually. So the other, I think, I'm not sure if you answer that other thing. Like, if you like more dogs than cats, or the other way, or it's just like the
I
same.
think for me, photographing is
It's
probably
different.
dogs because it's easier.
Yeah, but like
Um,
in your life, like regular Ewan.
I was always a dog person. So I've always been a dog person. I never wanted cats, but then we lost our boxers, so Buck and Aurora, our dogs. They both died quite close to each other, and it was too hard to get a dog.
Right.
So we ended up with the cats, and I love the cats to bits. I don't know.
It's a tricky question because I get that question a lot, and I'm like, I love both. Like it's different. I mean, a dog and a cat is so different, but uh me again, I never really like cats because like I grew up with my grandmother, and she told me when I was really little that you cannot trust in a cat or someone that has a cat. So I grew up with that in my head, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm a dog person, it's fine. And I think it's more common to say that you're not a cat person than saying you're not a dog person. You know, it's like more accepted in society. And then I ended up living with four cats, and I love them. They're amazing. And they're like my new love. So I'm kind of like right now in a phase of cats. I love them. I'm obsessed with my cats and everything that has like a cat. It's amazing. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of people, the things that think cats aren't, so they don't think cats are loving. They don't think cats need you. Whereas our two are very needy. They're very loving. They're not what people expect cats to be if they don't have cats. So all the things that people dislike about cats aren't really there. They're not. It's not the truth. They're
yeah, yeah, yeah.
really friendly and yeah.
I mean, when I went to the, I think I can, maybe I can post like a photo because I have selfies with your cats, and it was like the first time that I met your cats. My cats don't do that. I mean, when some like a client comes here or something, they just like hide because they like us, but that's it. So your cats are really like people cats.
Um, Fenrir is so Fen likes people. Zep's a little bit nervous, but he does come around. But Fen's really, if somebody comes in, he has to go see them, and he will
Oh,
try and climb up on them and jump and yeah,
that's so nice. But yeah, it's true. Like there's like this belief that cats don't like people, and they're like not cuddly and all that. My cats are like dogs basically. Like they chase toys and they bring it back to you and all that. So it's nice. Let me see my next question. Uh where are they? Okay, so your biggest challenge as a pet photographer.
um, probably the business side of things. I really enjoy photographing dogs. I enjoy meeting the people, but I'm not very business minded, so I'm not the best at all the behind the scenes things. So the money side of things, the selling products, and all the stuff you need to run the business is I can do it, but it's not something I enjoy, and I need to
Right.
push myself to be able to do things like that. So and
But you're
promote.
doing that great because you're having like two business. Like you could say like the retreat part is like a, I mean, not exactly like the taking photos of dogs, but teaching people how to take photos of dogs. So it's like you're doing it great because you have both right now.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just the day-to-day business stuff and the social media side of things.
Oh, okay, okay, got
I'm
it.
not brilliant at, but I think my clients like that I'm not very salesy, so they're not getting pushed to
Yeah,
buy stuff that they're not really comfortable with. It's all quite relaxed, and they leave with what they want to.
yeah,
I think it works out quite well for me, but
yeah,
it's a struggle for me at
yeah.
times.
I think. Yeah. Let me see. My biggest challenge. I think it was a good idea if I thought about the answer before starting this because I knew the questions. But let me see. I think my biggest challenge was thinking that, I mean, like believing this was going to work.
Yeah, that's same here. Yeah,
Yeah. Because like I started in med school, I was supposed to be a doctor. And then I was like, no, this is not for me. I have no idea what I'm going to do. That's when I started photography. And I went to school and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a fashion photographer. And that's what I really wanted. But then I was like, no, I don't like this. So I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, no idea. And when dogs came into my studio, I was like, I really love this, but I have no idea if this is going to work because at the end of the day, you need to pay the bills, right? And so it's like the last, I don't know, maybe 10 or more years, it's been like a struggle to say like, okay, this is my path, I chose this, and this needs, I mean, I have to make this work, right? And when you get, I'm not sure if you get the same reactions when you introduce yourself and you're like, I'm a pet photographer, that a lot of people are like, is that a thing? Like, can you do make a living with
it's
this?
usually asked if I do weddings as well. That's usually the first thing is, do you do weddings?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good,
Yeah,
that's everyone, yeah.
yeah.
But no, I usually say I'm a pet photographer and people just like stare like, oh, and what do you do? Like, how do you get your money, right? So for me, every single time that I get those encounters with people, I start to doubt myself a little, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I mean, it's tricky and it's hard because it's not like the traditional path, like the professional path
Yep.
for someone.
I think it's changing now. I think there's more
Well, yeah,
professional photographers now, so it's professional pet photographers. So it's become more of a thing. So I think people are more accepting of it. But that
yeah,
also
that's
makes it hard. I think there's more competition now than what there was when I first started. I think there wasn't very many dedicated pet photographers in Scotland when I first started. But now that there's 3 or 4 in every town, it's really popular.
okay. When did you start?
9, 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, it was I think a lot of people started like around that. I think maybe, yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, a lot of people here in Costa Rica is the same thing. Like um when I started, there was no one doing this, and now there are a couple that they're starting to run their business. And it's exciting because it's like you're saying, like it's getting popular. In I think competition is a good thing, like because you have to push yourself because you have to. I mean, you should try to stand out. Like
Yep.
your work should be like different and try to think outside of the box and trying to do like new things. So I think competition is a good thing, like healthy competition.
It's also
Uh,
community as well, new friends and people to help you along the way. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
that's
very
true.
lonely.
That's true. And I think now that you say that, that's one of the things that I think it was really helpful for like the retreats that I've made,
Yep.
including that a retreat, because I like right now I have friends that I never thought that I had, like pet photographers. And I mean, Nicola and Denise are like, I think I talked to them like every single day since last year when I met them at with your retreat, with your Nada retreat. And so it's like meeting people that you never thought you will meet, of course, but also it's like your people. It's like people that have this had this crazy dream and now they're trying to make it work, and they love dogs and cats, and they're basically you.
Yeah. I in Vegas, I spoke to lots of random dog photographers, and I was happy doing that. But some complete strangers came up to me in the queue for the desk, the sign-in desk, not dog photographers. And I really struggled with them talking to me just because it was some random person. But the dog photographers I was completely fine with. I enjoyed talking to them, but just random people I struggled to engage with, to talk to. But because they were my people, the dog photographers, it was fine.
Exactly. It's like for me it's the same. Like I don't consider myself an extrovert. Like I'm really shy, but when I talk about dogs, cats, and photography, and I know the other person is a pet photographer, it's like I feel like safe. I don't know. It's like a weird thing, and then I talk a lot. Like I said to you before starting to record, like I can speak about dogs, cats, and photography for like all day. So it's a weird thing.
And I think to be a pet photographer, you really need to love it. You need to love the animals. Otherwise, it's really difficult. So I think that you're engaging with people that love the same things as you, but you can't just do it just to make money. You need to actually to love what you're doing because you're going to get really difficult dogs. You're going to get difficult cats. It's no fun unless you love it. Because
Yeah.
there's difficult times, but if you do love it, then it's really easy to engage with people.
Yeah, that's true because the clients that you're going to get love the same thing that you
Yeah.
do. So it makes that really easy.
And that's the really nice thing. All the clients are lovely. My friends do newborns and weddings, and they're always getting clients that are unpleasant. They have clients that they
Yeah.
have really hard time with, and I've never had that. All my clients have all been lovely. So yeah, it's really good. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good thing too because yeah, the same for me. Like um I have colleagues that they do like newborns, weddings, like baby showers,
Yep.
events, stuff like that. And I've heard stories that I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea like how to deal with that. And I don't know, pet parents are really easy.
Yeah, and I think weddings and babies it's quite a stressful time in people's lives. So newborn photographers are maybe getting parents that are tired and stressed, so that makes the experience harder. And also some people when they get married get really stressed about the day, so they can be
Yeah.
quite stressed. And whereas the dog clients are just it's a fun time. There's no stress
Yeah,
involved. It's good.
that's true. And now that we're talking about this will take me to this question that I got. Let me see. So it's in Spanish, but I'm going to translate this. Let me see. Um, so it's from a pet photographer from my region. Okay, so I would like to know if you rather. No, I would like to know if you like more photographing dogs or cats. We already covered that. And if you have included fear free techniques during the photo shoots.
Um, I haven't included anything specific, but everything I do is just to try and make it easy for them. So I never try and force the dog or the cat to be where I need them. I hopefully try and encourage them to go in there with treats. And when I meet the dogs and cats, I'm just really relaxed and I just make it fun.
Yeah.
And I always try and keep the owners calm and relaxed as well. I find that if the owners get stressed, that stresses the animal out. So even if it's not going well, I always make sure that I'm making sure the owners feel as if it's going fine, and that I like to laugh and joke about it, and just make it like a nice easy time. Even if it's not going how I'd like it, I just keep it nice and light and just make it fun. Yeah, if I don't use leashes, if the dog's, if the dog doesn't want to be somewhere because it's scared, I would never put a leash on it to force it into the position.
Mm.
I think if it's an excited dog that just wants to be jumping around, a leash is fine, but especially in the studio, if you've got a dog that's scared of the lights and you put a leash on it and you force it to be in the place, that's not a good thing. So I don't do anything like that. I just take my time and work out what the dog's happy doing and just go from there. It's just, yeah, I mean, I don't want the dog to be scared. If the dog's scared, they're not going to look at the camera, or it's written all over their face.
Yeah.
So you want them relaxed and having fun. So nothing specific. It's just my general approach is to keep it nice and light and fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I do know that you have something in terms like one of the reasons, I mean, if I heard correctly, I'm not sure it was Shutterhound or the first time that I met you, that you use just one light because you don't want to scare dogs like from like having lights behind them. So
Yes.
could you consider that like a fear-free technique, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's part of the whole way of working is to make it as easy as possible. So the things that the dogs tend to not like about the lights is the sound. They make a pop sound, and that tends to scare them. So if the light's in front of them, they can see where the noise is coming from. But as soon as you put on lights behind, some dogs, they'll instantly start,
Yeah.
every time it pops, their head will shoot around and their body language will change. So it's about making it as easy as possible. So if the light's out in front of them, it tends to be easier for them. And they'll also turn the lights down. If a dog's scared of the noise, if you turn the power of the lights down, the sound gets less. And sometimes that's enough to make it easy for the dog. And I'll also pull the light further away if it's scared. I like the light to be quite close, but if it's a case of the light being close where I'd like it, and the dog being stressed or the light being further away, and the dog being happy, I'd rather pull the light far away. And same with me, if they're not happy with me being too close to them, I will use a longer lens and go to the other end of the studio. It's working out what each individual dog likes. I tend to use a stage as well, and some dogs don't like being up on the stage. So if they're not happy on the stage, I'll just pull the stage out the way and put them on the floor. It's just finding out the little things that make the dog more at ease. But yeah, there's nothing specific I do. I think some people do almost clicker training with the lights. So every time the light pops, they'll give a treat, the same way you would do with clicker training, just to try and desensitize them to, like, every time it makes a noise, they're getting a treat. So it's something good happening. It's not something I do, but I do know photographers that do that. Yeah, it's just about keeping it easy and not being in the dog's face. I think a lot of people, when they meet dogs, they get really excited and they're quite loud and they're in the dog's face, and that's quite intimidating for a dog. So it's just making sure I don't do anything like that. So when they come into the studio, I'm just sat down on the edge of the stage, and I ignore the dog completely, and I'll speak to the owners, and I'll say to them, "Oh, they're lovely, such a nice looking dog," and I'll ask questions about the dog, but I'll ignore the actual dog until they decide they want to speak to me. If they're not too sure, I'll maybe start throwing bits of hot dog on the floor further away from me and just let them come to me as they like. But at the end of the day, we don't need to touch them. So if a dog's unhappy with me, but not sure of me, I never need to actually put my hands on them. I don't need to pet them. I don't need to interact with them like that if they're not happy. So I never force myself on the dog. I think a lot of people, they get so excited with dogs. I mean, we all love dogs. That's why we do it. Yeah. But I think if you get too excited and too in their face, then it just worries them. So it's just about keeping it nice and easy and relaxed. And cats are a bit different, especially because they come to the studio. So cats are often quite scared. So I tend to just completely ignore the cats altogether. I would never try and pick up a cat or pet a cat in the studio that wasn't, well, would never pick them up, but if they rubbed themselves against me, I would speak to them. But other than that, I would tend to just ignore them because it's quite a lot for them coming here.
I
Um, I tend to let the owners do all the interaction. I'd never pick up a dog as well. I know a lot of people like pick up dogs and stuff, but I just feel as if that's something that could get you bitten, like stress the dog, like even just lifting them onto the stage. I'd always ask the owner to do that, just in case accidents happen. I don't
yeah.
want to put myself in a position to get bit. I don't want the dog to get scared or that. So things like that, I'll let the owner do all the handling. Um, and I always have the owner here, so I never ask for the owner to go away. I always
Oh
find it.
no.
Yeah, I think I think in new environments it can be quite intimidating, and the owner's like their anchor point, something they feel safe with. If the owner's been difficult, making life more difficult, I might ask them to go sit in the corner, just ask them to sit down and let me do it. But I would never ask them to leave the space. But yeah,
Okay. So it's like yeah, I think we both kind of like work um in a similar way. Let me see. So it's the fear-free thing. So in my case, like I right now I'm not doing a lot of studio work. Most of my work since maybe like the pandemic, it was mainly outside because I was taking care of, well, my mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather. So I was super stressed that I was going to be like in a closed space with stranger. So I was like, no, I still need to work, so I'm going to go outside. And so I think that just that having like a dog outside running is like a fear-free situation, like you're trying to just like make them feel this is just like playtime, and you kind of like work your through, like you try to follow them in their play and doing whatever they want and just like make that work. um I'm not sure if I, like you, like I'm not thinking about techniques, like fear-free techniques. I've never thought about it. When I got the question, I was like, oh, interesting. I would like to know like what are the fear-free techniques, because it never crossed my mind, because I haven't crossed with a situation when I'm like, okay, I need to really change everything that I'm doing. Of course, I've had like dogs that are more nervous than others, and cats too. um I do work with a lot of cats. I go to their home because,
yeah,
as I mean, just like you, I don't know. We are doing something that is not natural to them. Like
yeah,
taking, like putting something a black thing close to them. So it's not natural. But so it's trying to make the whole experience not as, I don't know, weird, and for them to feel like, yeah, they're safe. Having the owner there is a great thing because they know their dog and their cat. We just like have a little information about them. So um but I think once I had like a really really nervous, and like I think that the story of the dog, he was like full of abuse and like bad things. So he was really scared. He was in my studio, and the owner told me, he was like, okay, my dog has this and this and this, like he hates strangers, he's super like cautious with people. And I was like, it's going to be fine. I was not going to use like a really, I mean, I was like, okay, I'm going to use 70 to 200 and just like be like as far as I can go in the studio. And then we put like lavender or something, and we were just trying to make everything work, and at the end it worked. It's more complicated, and you have to be more patient because you don't want to force the dog, right? And but I think I've been like, the situations are more with cats. because they're not used to, I don't know, maybe I mean, it's a genetic or personality thing, but they get to be more cautious with humans. And there are slow photo shoots. For me, it could take me maybe 4 hours if the cat is really, really like stressed. I'm not going to push it. Um, but I think it's just patient and being like knowing that you have like a, how do you say this, uh it's not a thing what you have in front of your lens, right? It's like, it's like a living thing. That's what I wanted to say. So you have to respect and be careful and try to understand that they don't see the world as we do. I think that's like my approach.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with saying during a shoot that this isn't working for the dog or cat and just ending the shoot. Because I think you do more harm by pushing things past the point where the dog or the cat's comfortable. So I'd much rather say, sorry, I don't think this is working,
Yeah.
than keep pushing the animal until they're really stressed and something bad happens, or we have the dog having issues later on when he leaves the studio because we've
Yeah.
pushed them to the point where they're so stressed. Um, I have had dogs in the studio that have been quite scary before. So I did have a Jack Russell, and
Oh.
he was ragging on the lights. So he was hanging from the lights, ragging on them, and he was that was fine. I don't care about the lights. That's fine. I don't mind. I don't care if he damages my
Yeah.
equipment.
Still.
But he was going to bite somebody. He was so worked up. So we had to say to him that this wasn't working. And
Mm.
they had another dog. So the son took the Jack Russell for a walk, but he was going to bite somebody. He was just so worked up. Then I had a collie. The first pop of the lights, she was gone. She was really
No.
noise sensitive. So we just said, you know what, we'll go along and do a photo shoot outside. So we just scrapped the studio idea and went and done it outside in the park because it's not worth pushing her, making her stressed, and so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess uh I don't know. It's what works for you too. Like what you feel good. I mean, like I wouldn't feel a good human if I was like stressing the dog and being like, yeah, I have that photo, but the dog is like all traumatized, you know? Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel good with that.
And you can't
Um
get the best from the dog either. You can't get these nice photographs if they look really stressed. It's just, I think,
it-
I
I'm
think
sorry.
new, sorry,
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I think new photographers. One of the things you see in their work is often stressed dogs. So, and they don't often they're not realizing that the dog's
The
stressed.
body language.
Yeah, so the kind of the tongue hanging out and just the wild eyes, and the photographers have been doing it for a while. You can see in their work that they're probably still getting stressed images, but they're not showing that they're good
Yeah.
at getting little moments. So even if I've got a stressed dog, I can get like little moments where I can get a picture where he looks relaxed. So I think it's just it takes time and experience, and I think it's figuring a way it works for you. Everybody's a bit different personalities, so it's good finding the things that work for you rather than trying to copy somebody else's method of working with animals because we're all different and we all interact with them differently, and it's just finding our own thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was going to say something like really similar because like when I mean, we've been doing this for a long time right now. Like and I think experience and doing this like so often makes you start to learn a lot about dogs and cats and like behavior and all that. Like I think it's a thing that you should learn, like you start to say like, oh, the ears, like they're like an airplane, so it's like they're not so comfortable, and you start to see these little details that people that are starting are not so focus on. Like
Yeah.
when you're starting, what you want is like the good photo, you know, and the you think about the technicals and all that. And I'm not sure that you think about body language as much when you're beginning. Um, and because I've seen those photos and they're like, oh, the dog is laughing, and I'm like, no, the dog wants to die.
I think I think as well, I'm quite relaxed about posing the dog, so I'm never trying to like force. I don't have a perfect scenario in my head where I want the
Right.
dog exactly in the spot. I'm quite relaxed about that, so I kind of let things happen rather than trying to make the dog sit in this perfect position. I think some people do that as well when they first start. Is like it has to be perfect. I want the dog sitting exactly here, and it's quite hard for a lot of dogs and owners to get the dog to sit in the perfect position. And I think it adds quite a lot of stress to the shoot. So I'm quite easy about where the dog is, and I just make it work.
Yeah.
And the clients don't care about the technical side of things. They just care about something in the image that speaks to them that says, that's my dog, that's my boy. It's just
Yeah.
it's just these wee intangible things that they really like. They don't care if the focus is completely perfect. They don't care if the
Mhm.
lighting's brilliant. I mean, we obviously care. And it's good to have these things,
Yeah, I
but
was going to say that, like, oh my God, because
at the
I'm
end of
really,
the day, the clients don't care.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But like, I'm, I don't know, before a shoot, I'm like, uh, I really think about the things that I want to get out of like the whole shoot, right? Um, I I speak before with the client and all that, and I know what they want. I mean, like not visually, but they're like, okay, yeah, my dog loved this and this and this. So you start to just like imagine like the photos that you could get, right? And I usually work in my house and certain places that I already know. Like I know where I'm going. And I do like I try to get the images that I want. Uh but I don't force the dog or cat to do it. You know, I just trying
Yep.
to like kind of like have a rhythm in my session, and I'm like, let's try to do this. And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. I'm really flexible, so it's like if I don't have it, but also because I work with natural light, so I have no control about nothing in my shoot, just like my camera. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's hard, well, for me it's hard to let go those images that I couldn't get from the dog and the cat, and I'm
Yep.
like, oh, okay, but it's fine because my clients, uh I mean, they kind of like don't know that technical part, and they cannot envision what we could do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's fine. I think we are like, well, I am really hard on myself. So, and I know my clients are doing this investment, and sometimes are end of life sessions. So it's just this is the last chance to get everything like perfect. So I try to really push it to have like the best of like everything. But I understand what you mean when you're like, you cannot push and like force a dog to do something. It's impossible.
Yep.
It's not going to work.
And I don't have a visual imagination, so I can't see images in my head. It's
What?
complete blank. Yeah, so it's a total thing. I can't visualize anything.
This is
It-
wait, we have to talk about this.
it- so when you close your eyes, you can make images in your head. You can see
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
I can't. I can't do that. So if I close my eyes and think of my wife, I can't see her face.
What do you see? Like,
Nothing. It's black. It's not. There's
can
nothing
you
there.
see? Oh my God. Wait.
Yeah. It's
Like a total like different route from my podcast, but we are going to talk about this. Do you see like her name, like the letters of her name? Can you do that?
No, nothing. So I know what Claire looks like, but I can't make a picture in my head.
That's so crazy.
And I only realised a couple of years ago that that it was different from other people. So I think there's like I think they think 2 to 3% of people can't see things in their heads.
Really?
Yeah. So like the whole thing of like close your eyes and think of a beach. I never understood that because I can't make a picture of an image of a beach in my head.
That's so
It's,
like I had no idea that was possible. And you're a photographer, like
yeah.
you're a visual person. So it's like way more like I
So I'm
admire
like
you
a,
for right now because you don't imagine the photos that you're going to make.
no, I can't do that.
So it's amazing what you do because you
So
get like amazing results.
I'm like a dog. So I just live in the moment. So I
That's
can't
a really good thing.
yeah, I can't like make so I'm really bad at planning things. So I can't plan a shoot out. I just go with what I get on the day. So not until I'm in the location I can think, oh, this looks quite cool. I'll put the dog there, but I can't visualize it beforehand or
Oh my god.
yeah.
So yeah, you're living in the moment. You're a dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's a really good thing because then you're thinking as your client.
Yeah, I think
Because you're a dog.
and it also means I'm not disappointed because I know some photographers
Yeah,
get this image in their head that they want to make.
that's
Then
me.
when they come to do the shoot, it doesn't materialize. Whereas I can't do that, so I'm not disappointed in the images. Well, I could be disappointed in the images, but it's not because I was planning something else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's usually like when you work outside, like you you're mainly a studio photographer, but you do outdoors things too. So like you know how I mean, wait, because now that I know that you don't imagine things, I have to let me see, let me rephrase this. So when you get to a place and you're like, oh, this is no, because I cannot say this is not what I imagine because you're not imagining anything. So, but when the I don't know, the weather is not working for you or the location, you're like, oh, this is not great. Uh, of course, you just make it work because
yep,
you have to make it
you have
work.
to, yeah.
But I do I mean, I do get a lot of disappointments from my shoots. I mean, not because of my clients, basically because me, because I imagine like a couple, not exactly like the whole shoot, but I'm like, oh, we're going to this place, and it's I don't know, a Chihuahua. So I'm like, oh, I can put him like in like trees and stuff, like I kind of like try to do things that I cannot do with a Great Dane, for example. So when I get to the location and all that, for example, I have like a really recent shoot. So it's like 2 days ago. We went to the north part of the country. So it's like a 5 hour drive. We had to stay there, and one of the dogs was a senior dog. He's 15 years old. It's a small Chihuahua. He's sick. So I was like okay, this is going to be his end of life session, so it's really really important for me to get everything perfect, right? So we were going to make the photo shoot. It was like 6 a.m., so it was like the light was not going to be harsh and all that. But then I was like, you know what, I'm here, let's do like a little mini sunset shoot too, so we can have like the both. Sunset was awful. Like the day before, it was like you could see like the sun, like
Yep.
like everything was perfect and the ocean and everything. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Tomorrow is going to be like that because we are in summer. It was an okay sunset. So and we were like I'm usually really transparent with my clients. I was like, oh, this is not ideal. Like I wanted like your photos with this amazing sunset, but I mean it's totally out of control. Um we had the moon, so it was like a good thing. I was like, yeah, okay, the moon is fine. But so those little things uh are like are not ideal, but at the same time it's, I mean, it's life,
Yeah,
and you cannot control those things. So you try to make it work, and it usually works like really well. But yeah, you have a blessing.
yeah, but it's just it's just natural to me. It doesn't seem strange.
Yeah, 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 I
Yeah,
know, but
yeah,
it would be like the same when people, I mean, let's see. I remember when I realized that I was not the only, when I was really little, like I was not the only getting like a voice in my head,
yeah.
because I was like, I can do this. I had no idea the other kids could like have a voice in their head. When I realized everybody did, I was like, oh,
But
so
not
it's,
everybody does.
what do you mean?
Not everybody has the voice. That's the thing as well. So some people don't
You're,
have.
you're bursting all my bubbles right now. Like my reality is totally different right now.
Claire doesn't have the voice. So
What?
I asked her. I just got a blank look. She didn't know what I was talking about. So some people have a voice, an inner monologue. They call it in
Yeah,
English.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But some people just have. It's more visual. So they have images, and so they associate certain things with colors and shapes and sounds. I don't know. So
So Claire is has the visual. You don't have the visual. You have the inner monologue, and she
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. But most people that have the visual, like they can have a visual imagination, they have the inner monologue as well. But some people just have different ways of thinking. So not everybody has. Yeah,
Interesting. So I'm learning a lot. I do have the inner monologue, and it never stops. Like it's just like awful, and the visual thing too. So it's like it's a little bit overwhelming when you're in a shoot because you're just like thinking and like, okay, I need to do this and this and this and the light and the dog is, like, and I think those are the things that the clients don't know because you're trying to act like you have everything like in control, even if you don't have it. That's what you were saying before. Like you kind of like pretend everything is going the way you want it to go.
yeah. I think as soon as the owners get really stressed, then it makes the dog so much worse. So it's just
Yeah.
trying to keep them. So I do things like like in the studio, if the dog's moved to the edge of the paper, so he's sitting in the wrong position, I'll take images and pretend that they're good, and I'll ask the owner to move the dog, just so that they don't think that none of the images are working.
Yeah.
So as long as they think the images are working, they're happy to reset the dog. Whereas if the dog's just sat on the edge of the paper and you're not taking images, they're getting quite stressed about the dog being there.
Yeah.
But if you take images, pretend that they're okay, even if they're just going to go straight in the bin, it makes it easier for them. So then you just ask, "Oh, do you think this time we can put them in the
Yeah.
middle?" We can just do things like that. And even like if sometimes the owners in the studio will stand in front of the lights and put their hands in the way and things, I'll
Yeah.
still take the images like that. Then I'll explain to them next time. If maybe if you just stand to the side slightly and just so they feel as if it's working. I think as soon as they start feeling as if it's not working, they're a bad owner. We can't control our dogs. Like, they get really stressed and upset about that. So it's just making it fun and easy. And
Yeah.
these are the things that these are the little skills that really make you
Make a
successful.
difference and make a difference too, like for your clients, because it it changes like the whole thing from like to experience, like a good experience, not
Yeah.
only like a photo shoot and I will get photos. So and now, okay, now that to you said something about bin, like trashing a photo. Do
Yeah.
you ever delete photos?
No. My computer has
Yeah.
I don't even kill images. So I just leave them all in Lightroom and just go through them all. No, I've still got every image I've ever taken on the computer. even the ones that should be in the bin.
I
So
know.
there's
Same.
7 or 8 hard drives on my computer full of images. It's just, yeah, it's, I need to learn
Yeah,
to let go.
yeah, it's a nightmare. I'm having the same. Like I cannot, I cannot delete an image because I'm like, what if I need it for some reason? And I know a lot of them. I cannot do anything with them because it's like it's nothing. But and recently I had this, like my computer was so slow, everything was failing, and I was like, what's going on? Like this is not supposed to be like this. Like Lightroom will just like freeze and I will get like the
Spin
beach
quick, yeah.
ball, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, this is hell. So I talked to the people in Adobe and I was like, hey, this is not working. And I was like, your software is the worst. And I was so angry. And they were like, can we do a remote session? Like, can we go in your computer and see what's going on? I was like, yeah, of course. But I was so mad. And they're like, ma'am, you have a lot of photos, like way more photos that Lightroom could like load and work properly. And I was like, no, your software. And I'm pretty sure they were like, why do you have so many photos of dogs and cats? But whatever. And so I probably had like, let me see, I'm not good with numbers in English. 300,000. That's how you say it?
Yep.
Okay, so I had like a lot. And I was like, okay, so what's the normal, like, what's the amount that you recommend? And they were like 25,000. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I need another catalog. So they were like, just use another catalog and everything will work fine. And I was like, yeah, I need to clean my computer. I mean, it's
Yes.
nothing.
So the images that I edit then post on Facebook, I tend to just leave them on the desktop. Then I'll move them into a folder that's called something like stuff from desktop. Then I'll like, once the desktop's filled up, I'll make another folder that's more stuff from the desktop. And
God. Wait, do you have like your desktop is like full of
oh yeah,
folders?
it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah. The
Okay,
whole
yeah.
computer, you can't find anything. It's just, it's really bad. I have issues.
Yeah, no, no. I'm really glad that we're doing this because I really felt that um I had a pro like I was like I wish I could like talk to a lot of photographers to see like, so what's your workflow exactly? Because yesterday I was talking to Denise and she was telling me that she doesn't use Lightroom. And I was like, are you crazy? What do you use? And then she was like explaining every single thing. And I was like, oh, you're no, that's no, you cannot do that. And then I was like, I realized that there's a lot of ways of doing the same thing. Like you said, like we are like all the pet photographers, we're different. But I think um, well, I think we have the tendency to not delete the images. And I'm not sure how are you dealing with backups.
Um, Back catalogs. But
Backups, like backing up your files. Are you backing up?
it's probably best not to talk about that. It's yeah, it's not good.
Okay, let's change
I
the
do
subject then.
I do have Crash Plan, but Crash Plans, it's
What?
9 months out of date. It's one of these. It's an offsite backup, so it uploads the pictures to
Oh, like a cloud?
server. Yeah, but because there's so many images, it's always 9 months out of date. So it's always like 9 months behind trying to upload all these images.
God.
So yeah, it's just I know I should be better, but
No, no, no. Me too. Like, I mean, I don't want to talk about this because if my clients see this, they're going to be like, "Oh my god!" But I've been trying to be a better uh, photographer and trying to back up my work because
yeah,
accidents happen. Um, and I've had like a couple of accidents, and I'm like, oh my god, I have no idea I have the files that I have to work on to deliver to my client. But thank God, like everything works perfect. But I have a lot of hard drives, like a lot, and one of my main ones is failing. Like it's doing a weird thing. Sometimes it will work, so I will just like try to work on the images and export them and be like, okay, now I have this file and it's fine. I have the photos, but now I bought an, where is it? Let me see, an SSD,
Yep.
external hard drive. Supposedly it's like a better way to have like your work in progress, because I was using like a regular external hard drive, and they're supposed to be like slower and like not so
There's moving
reliable.
parts in them. They move as well. They spin and yeah.
So do you use a SSD external hard drive or?
So I use a PC, and so I've got the hard drives internal.
Oh,
So yeah, I've got some older hard drives as well that seem to be going really slow. So I really need to back it all up onto something new, but it's
so
expensive.
yeah, I know. I mean, but this one that I got, it was not. I mean, it was not cheap, but I was like, this is an emergency. Like I need to to have the things that like the things that I haven't delivered to my client. I need them to be like safe, because I need to get them to them, right? But oh my god, I forgot my idea. You were saying there. Okay, yeah. So I bought it and I thought it was going to be way more expensive. I think they're coming down with the prices, but I still need to, because there's Denise told me about, okay, by the way, Denise is like a another pet photographer. I met her in not a retreat last
Yep.
year, and yeah, we're really close. But she told me about Backblaze, I think.
Yes, that's
Or-
similar to the thing I use, the
Yeah,
cloud software. Yeah.
yeah. So, and she was like, you just like pay them and they will do the whole backup. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, how long did you had to like have your computer on? Oh, a couple of days. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of files. I have a lot of external hard drive. I'm not sure if that's going to work. So I ended up not doing it, and I bought this external hard drive, and I still have to do like the backup, but it's really hard. And I think mm, those are the things that clients, of course, they don't need to know, right? The
Yes.
struggles of like doing this, but it's interesting to know that you have the same problem as I do.
Yeah. I think it's just a personality thing. I think some people are really on top of these things, whereas I'm not very good at these things. I tend to let
Yeah,
it slide.
yeah. I mean, I have uh deficit disorder. Like I cannot focus like really. I think, I guess I'm like a dog too. Like they're like, oh, a butterfly and stuff like that. So I'm like that. Um so when I'm sitting and I'm like, okay, I need to back up this, I start to wait and I'm like, this is boring. I'll stop it and then I'll do it in another time and then I'll forget and I never did the backup. But okay, wait until I forget. I still have more questions. Let me see. Let me see. Uh, so wait. Questions here. Uh, your biggest. Okay, what inspired you to do photography?
Um, so I got my first DSLR when we got our boxer puppy. So Buck would have been about 12 weeks old. So I learned to photograph by photographing Buck when he was a
Oh,
puppy. But Buck was an adventure dog, so he'd always be swimming or trying to
wow.
climb trees and jumping and doing silly things. So it was always trying to photograph Buck. Then Aurora came along as well. So we had two dogs, and they used to just run together and beat each other up and like play fight, and it was just really fun capturing our adventures. So it started there. Then we're doing the rescue as well. It was the pictures made a difference to the dogs getting rehomed, and that was really nice.
So it's interesting because you learn photography with dogs.
Yep.
So it's just like a natural thing for you.
Yeah. And the thought of posing people is really difficult for me. I don't like trying to tell people where to place their hat, like the little details. So people's hands and things, I'm not very good at the little details. So I wouldn't make a very good people photographer. Whereas I don't think these little details matter with dogs is the same way. As long as the dog's happy and the owner's happy, they don't care that, I don't know, the paws in
Yeah.
the wrong way, or I don't know. But like
Yeah.
with people, it matters. Like the little details matter with people. And so I'm not interested in that stuff. I like the dog being happy and full of personality. And yeah, that's what I love.
Okay, let me see. So, what inspired me to do photo? I have no idea. Like, I was just running away from med school. Basically, for me, it was just I was like, I need to get out of here, but I don't have another plan. So, a friend called me the day that I was like, I think I had I was in a like before a test or something, and he was like, "You should be a photographer," and I was like, "Okay, okay, I'll do it." And I remember that I just like left, um, and that was it. And I was like, "I'm going to be a photographer." Never ever I own like a camera. I had no idea, like nothing. It was just like sometimes I think like maybe if he said like you should be an engineer, we'd like what 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 would be my life right now, because he was the one that told me be a photographer, and I was like, okay, let's go. And when I was like at school, I was like, what do I want to do with this? Because it was never my dream, it was just like my escape. And I don't know, I started to enjoy it, but never like I like fashion photography. I like the whole studio look and all that. And I think that's why I started um with studio dogs. And I'm not sure if I did cats when I started, but um everything was kind of like an accident for me. Uh the model that I had one day, she just like didn't arrive to the studio, and one of my friends arrived with her dog, and the dog just like lay down where my lights were, and I was like, let's see what happens, because I don't have a model. And that was it. I was like, okay, not fashion, not nothing, just dogs. And I put like a message on my Facebook page like, hey, tomorrow I need 25 dogs. And that was it. It was like I started doing free shoots, and I was like, this is what I want to do. So it was an accident. I never like felt something that inspired me. Like exactly.
Yeah. I I'm quite accidental as well, so I never wanted to do studio stuff. I hated the idea of doing studio stuff.
Really?
Yeah, so for the first year, I just did location work, and it did not go well. I was really struggling. So I was ready to quit. I told Claire I was quitting.
Oh,
I was done
really?
with photography, yeah. So the weather in Scotland's quite unpredictable. So it's not like you can plan a shoot and you know you're going to get a nice night. It's going to be sunny or dry. It's really unpredictable. It'll be raining one minute, sunny the
Yeah.
next minute. It's quite hard, and that was stressing me out. And I wasn't getting many clients, and I was like, I'm done. I'm finished. Then I got an email offering me a studio space. Um, so it was like they had an art studio and they had private artist studios, just small studios. So I thought I'll take one of these and I'll keep doing location work and I'll maybe do sales sessions in the studio. But still didn't want to do studio stuff. Then a friend emailed me saying that this photographer's selling lots of studio equipment that they're not using anymore. So I thought,
Oh,
I might as well buy it since I've got a studio. Still not wanting to do studio work. Then I set it up. I put my dog's buck and a roar in front of it, and that was it. I just slowly fell in love with it.
yeah.
It
So
just
it's
made
the same
sense.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
it was not something I ever wanted to do. I always just imagined studio would be stressed dogs, look unnatural, and it was not. I like my enjoyment of photography was photographing buck and aurora playing. So that's in my head was what I wanted to do. But I think I quickly learned ways of like dealing with the dogs in the studio, making it less stressful. And I quite liked that because I was using plain backdrops, the dog was the whole scene. There was nothing distracting from it. It was just the dog and the personality, and it made sense. And yeah, I would never have got to do all the things I've done in the last 8 years if it wasn't for opening that studio that first day. So yeah, it was accidental, but I'm so glad that it happened. But it's not something I ever wanted to do. I was really set against doing that, but worked out for the best.
Yes, yes. That's amazing. It's like I think it's when you say yes, good things happen. Because for me, it was kind of like the same thing. I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it, and everything was just like that. Um, Actually, for Barklander, it was the same thing. I got like the email, and I was like, no, why not? It was
Yeah,
not like I knew about the retreats and all that, but it was not something that I was like, oh, okay, I want to go on retreats. Like, never crossed my mind. I was super focused on like my clients and all that, and I was like, well, I mean, let's see what happens. And I think with not a retreat, it was kind of like the same. You sent me I think it was, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook, that you were like doing this, and I was like, yeah, why not? And then they were starting to like do a lot of retreats that year, so I was like, there's a lot going on, so what should I do? And I remember that you told me, so are you coming to Scotland or are you going to another retreat? And I was like, no, I'm going to Scotland because I love it. But so it's like when you say yes to the things that cross your path.
yeah. And the only reason I made it a business was because that was the only way Claire was going to let me get a nice camera. So starting the business, I was allowed to buy a 5D Mark III. So that was part of the reason we started the business, so I can have a nice camera. Not
That's good.
yeah. So
That's
yeah,
good.
it's motivational.
Okay, so other question, what's your biggest frustration, and how do you handle frustration during, let me see, yeah, while you're working, how do you handle that?
So during the shoot,
Yes.
um, I don't get frustrated. So life stresses me out. So I'm always quite stressed and I'm quite a nervous person and life stresses me out. But during the photo shoot in the studio on location with a dog, nothing bothers me. I'm really easygoing and
You're happy.
happy. And yeah, so I don't really get frustrated. Whereas day to day life, I'm always worried and frustrated and stressed. But doing this, I just find I'm really quite easy going during it. Um, Frustrations. I think the only thing that frustrates me is when owners get angry at the dogs. So
Oh, yeah.
sometimes if they're not posing, if the dog's not sitting where they want them to, they can get a little bit frustrated. They can maybe start showing them a little bit. So things like that. But then it just goes back to like making a joke out of it, and you know, it's fine. It doesn't matter if he's not sitting. He's you know, I think people like that their dogs make you happy. So if I can make them think that their dog's making me happy, it relaxes them. So it's just these little techniques just to get the owner to relax so they're not getting stressed at the dog. But I think the only frustrating thing is just when people get a bit frustrated at the dog and a bit angry. But generally on a shoot, I'm really quite relaxed, which is not really
Okay.
my personality, but yeah.
No, for me, I mean, I could do have the same thing. Like I'm super stressed and worry and all that with life. Um, and I'm really, let me see, frustration. Like I think because I'm a really stressed person, like working with dogs and cats and people, um for me it's like a therapy, like it's how I learn how to live my life, because sometimes there are setbacks during the photo shoot, and like like the dog is not interested in what I'm doing, in my barking or whatever. They don't care about the treats or and all that. So it's, for me, it's like, oh, what can I do for to make this to work, and to be respectful of the dog and the owner and all that. So uh I guess I just, I mean, I'm the way for me to deal with that frustration is to be patient, and be like, this is life. That's it. And accepting the things as they are. It's really easy to say, but dogs and cats make me happy, like genuinely happy. So they also help me to be grounded, because I'm a really like a spacey and dreamy person, and I tend to be like on the clouds all day. So they kind of like ground me, and I'm like, okay, I'm here, I'm shooting this, I'm doing this. And I don't know, it's easier to deal with frustration when you have a dog and a cat in front of you. I guess it's not the same with people. Like it's different when you're dealing frustration towards people. That's different.
Yeah, so I don't have the same empathy towards people that I do towards animals. So in the studio, if I had a toddler in the studio, so a 3-year-old
Oh,
child, and they were touching things and pulling things over, I get quite annoyed at that. Whereas if a dog's peeing on the floor or doing stuff, I don't care. I love that dog. It's not my dog, but I love them already. And it
I
doesn't
know.
matter what they do. I've got loads of empathy towards them. Not that I don't like children or that. It's just I don't feel the
I
same
know what
empathy towards them than people like just yeah. I just it's easier with dogs. I mean, who doesn't love a dog?
Yeah, but it's what you were saying at the beginning. Like when you, I mean, if you want to do this, if you want to be a pet photographer, you really need to love, like really, you cannot fake this. Uh like your love for animals have to be like real, and that's the way that you don't care they pee or they poop or whatever, like they pull a cable, or I don't know, like it's like it's not the best moment, but you're like, it's fine, it's a dog, don't worry. um so
And
it's
yeah, there's always difficult shoots as well. So I mean, there's not every dog's going to do as they're told. So there's always going to be these really difficult shoots, and if you don't love it, it's going to it's going to grind you up. It's going to make you just miserable. You need to really enjoy it, even those difficult shoots. I quite
yes.
like the sort of chaotic shoots that don't go too well. Plus, they're always so shoots that are really difficult are always the ones I get the most referrals from. So I
Oh
think,
really?
yeah. So I'll have a shoot at the weekend, and the dog's not doing what I want it to. It's maybe really quite nervous of the lights, and the owners seem really stressed and they're sweating trying to get the dog to do what we want. But I just laugh and have fun with it. And it's always them shoots that I'll get an email the next day from somebody in their family said that they were in the studio at the weekend, they had a really nice time and they'd like to book in as well. And it's always the
Oh,
people that have a difficult time. And that's before they've even seen any images. So I think I'm quite good at making them feel relaxed and welcome in the space. And it obviously translates to more bookings. And it's,
yes.
yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So did we talk about the biggest challenge? I think I already asked that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Okay.
did.
So let me see how you started. Yeah, we talk about that. The fear-free things. How's your workflow? Our workflow.
Sloppy. It's not very good. So I'll do a shoot, get the images. I'll transfer the images to the computer. Then
You
I'll
do it
run.
immediately?
Sorry.
Do you transfer the images immediately?
Yes. Now, before I used to get really stressed about not liking the shoot, so I'd leave the images on the card for like a week because I didn't want to look at them. But I'm better now, so I tend to put the images straight on the computer. I usually go through them just in the thumbnails,
Mhm.
and I'll pick out a random image to edit in Camera Raw and Photoshop, just to put on Facebook. So I'll just pick out a random one, then I'll load them all into Lightroom. Then instead of culling the images, I'll just start at the start, go through the ones I like, I'll edit, do a basic edit in Lightroom, send them to Photoshop, do the full edit, save them from Photoshop, then go back to Lightroom, carry on through the catalog, and
What? So you start working without looking everything.
yeah. So I start at the start and just go through it.
Okay.
I'm not,
Okay.
yeah.
What else?
I really should go through and cull the images and get narrow them down, but I just start at the start and go through them. It probably
God.
takes me twice as long, but
Yes. So, like, what's the average number of photos that you have in a shoot?
oh, you know what? That's embarrassing. Too many.
I know, but I want to know because if you're not doing the selection process and you're going through everything in your shoot, that's a long time.
Yeah, so if it's a studio shoot, I could have like 50 to 70 images that I show a client that are fully edited. I know it's far too many. I know this, but I can't help it.
You do full edits.
Yeah, yeah. I can't show anybody anything without being fully edited. I have loads of bad habits. I know they're bad habits. I know what I should be doing, but I
I
can't
know.
make
I know.
myself break the
Yeah.
bad habits. Yeah, so
Oh my God. So yeah, it's okay. And after that, what do? You do the full edits, you show that to the client, and then that's it. You keep everything, right?
yeah, everything's kept forever.
Forever.
So
Okay.
yeah, and I shoot too much in the studio as well. So this is just embarrassing. So some shoots I'll have 700 images from a studio shoot, like raw files.
How many?
700 from a studio shoot, which is like
That's
far too
nothing.
many.
No, 700 is 700.
Yeah, like raw files from
What?
a
That's
studio shoot.
nothing.
Yeah, but that's a studio shoot. That's like
Let me see. Let me try
so
to.
there's
Okay,
limits.
yeah.
You can do, yeah,
For a studio shoot, that might be like the equivalent of what I do outside. I usually have like 2,000 or 3,000. It's way
yeah.
too many photos. So yeah, we shoot a lot. Let me see my workflow. So I will do the photo shoot. I will leave my memory cards there hanging because I have the same feeling as you. I'm like, oh my God, what if everything is like awful? I need to just like be prepared for that. So right now, my case full of memory cards from the weekend, they're there. I'm not sure when I'm going to like upload them, but like, well, like transfer them. Then I will open, but I do the selection, like the calling,
Yep.
and then I start. I don't do full edits before like showing to the client. I will just like maybe do once or like for social media if I really like love an image and I want to like show it before. Um and then we do the selection and then send everything, and I keep everything forever too. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not sure how long I can be doing this, because like I have a lot of hard drives, like way too many. Like I'm not sure if this is, how do you say this? Like in Spanish you say, no, I'm not going to say the Spanish. How do you say this? Like I'm not sure if I can keep this over time.
Yep.
Like working like this, because it's like it's expensive.
Yeah. I know I'm doing all these things that make my life more difficult, but I can't stop myself. I'm a creature of habit. I do things.
Yeah.
Once I get in a habit of doing things, it's really hard for me to break it. So I
Mhm.
do all these things that I know that I probably shouldn't be doing, and life would be easier if I didn't do it, but I can't stop myself.
I know. I'm just. Do you want to talk about those habits? Are you comfortable about talking your bad habits
Yeah.
that you?
So I shoot far too much. I keep far too many images. I edit far too many images. I'm just I'm a bit too easygoing about things as well. So like in terms of sales and things, I'm quite happy for a client to say, "Is it okay if I come back for an image later?" Or yeah, I keep the images forever. It's just whereas I know I can if I push, just not push, but just
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
guided them a little better. They would buy stuff there and then. But I'm just like, yeah, yeah, it's fine. Come back whenever you want. And I do all these little things that just I know they make life difficult for me, and I could probably be making more money, but I don't really care. I think
Yeah,
I'm not very money motivated. So I think because when I started this, I was looking after my wife full time. So I was Claire's full time carer. It was never really about money. Obviously, it had to make money, but
yeah,
it was more about having something for me. This was my thing. This was something I can go do. This was something I could build. So it was never really about making loads of money.
yeah,
But so I'm not very focused on that side of things. I mean, it does make money and it's a business, but
yeah,
it's not it's not the ultimate thing for me is to make loads of money. I mean, we've got our house and we've got the things that we need in life. I'm quite content. So I think maybe if I was a bit more business minded, a bit more money motivated, I'd maybe be a bit better at scrapping the bad habits. But I think because I'm just happy just to plod along, it's
I
fine.
mean, and it works for you. Like
Yeah.
you're okay. Like I understand what you say. Like that they are bad habits, because I have a lot of bad habits. But at the end of the day, like you deliver your photos and everything to your client, and it's like the only person that you're hurting is yourself. So
Yep.
kind of like fine at some point, right? Because for me it's the same. Like I overthink a lot. Like when I'm doing the editing and all that, I it takes me like a long time to deliver like the final images to my client, because I'm like, oh no, maybe if I change this, and I'm like, oh yeah, this works. So I have to change the whole shoot. So I have to do the whole edit again. And I enter this like circle of like editing that is like never ending. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is taking way too long. I need to deliver this because it's way too long. So that's one of like my biggest bad habits, that I
Yes.
get obsessed with files.
So probably my worst habit is I'm always late at delivering the images. So I'll say 2 weeks, then it's 3 weeks, then it's 4 weeks. But the clients let me away with it. Nobody ever complains. I'm blaming the clients for not complaining. I don't
Exactly.
I don't
I
know
mean,
why, but they never
yeah,
they never like pester me. And
I
it's
think
really
they
bad. I feel bad about it.
I mean, they trust our work, and they like our work. Because for me, it's kind of like the same. I'm like, okay, let me see. I have like the list. of clients that I'm working like their shoot and all that. And I have a group of clients that I haven't transferred their images yet because I want to move with the other clients, right? And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like I remember a client, I haven't started that, and it was like a couple of weeks ago, so I should start working on that. And I'm like, I wonder why they haven't like texted me to be like, hey, where are my images? Because I would be like that, like, hey, I want to see something because you're excited, you want to see it. And I'm really grateful about the clients that I have because they never push me, like ever. They're just like, do whatever you want. Like I like your work, and they trust me. So I think they think that I'm like, this is a normal process. I mean, maybe I'm putting my how do you say this in English? I'm not sure if there's like a saying in English that you're like putting like a like your own,
Nifs.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, nifs. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're doing something bad for your reputation. Like right now I'm doing something bad. But being really honest, it's because I'm really obsessed with every single file to be delivered like as good as I can. And so I tend to overthink every single shoot. I'm like, okay, uh, when I start to work on an edit, I'm like, okay, I'm going to see like which atmosphere is best for these images. You don't have that problem because your work is super like it's it's perfect. Like your white balance and everything is like more precise. You could say
It's easier
that.
in the studio, yeah. It's easier in the
Yeah,
studio, yeah.
yeah. So, and I have a problem because I don't love colors in real life. Like I find them boring for some reason. So I need to like move a lot of sliders and be like, oh, this is an interesting like atmosphere for my photos. So, and I don't have presets, so like I don't do like the whole thing. So I'm like, every single photo shoot is like starting from scratch in terms of colors and everything. So it takes a lot of time for me to be happy with something. And so yeah, I deliver everything so late. And in the like this like thank you note that I get to my clients, I'm like, hey, thank you for being so patient because I took so long to deliver this. Like every single one will get that note because I know it was too much. But it's like, i don't know I don't know why I do this.
I'm the same. I know I should be better, and I know I should get things done quicker, but I just struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me too. Let me see if there's something uh else. Frustration. Then, mm, mm, mm. Okay, I think. Oh, okay. So, what are your next plans? Big plans?
Um. So we're getting a puppy. So we're getting a
Ah,
puppy just when the retreat finishes. So the retreat finishes on the Saturday. Then I'm going to Wales on the Sunday to pick him up.
oh,
So once we get him back, and once he starts getting comfortable with the studio, I want to make a studio education course or online, not an online, just I think a big chunk of it will be a book, like a written document, and there'll be videos and yeah, just a studio course. I want to be able to do that. So we'll be able to use the puppy to do all the behind the scenes things and wee videos
oh, that's really nice. He's
and I think
how old?
so. The puppy is 8 weeks tomorrow.
No, a baby.
I could get him tomorrow, but because of the retreat, I need to wait another 2 weeks.
Yeah, Yeah,
or I
yeah,
could
yeah.
cancel the retreat and get the puppy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be better. I'm really
Plus,
sure everybody will be happy.
if they're dog photographers, they should understand.
They will
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, of course. Okay, so this educational thing is like your big plan for this year.
Yeah, it just so the retreat's a big deal as well. So we're doing
Oh,
the
yeah.
yeah. So
Can
we're
we
doing
talk
both.
about it like a little bit?
Yeah, so it's called With Ventures Retreats. Um Kristen Murray's helping me as well, so she's going to come help. So she's really good at managing clients and working with the dogs and all the behind the scenes things that I think get overlooked quite a lot of the time. So
Yes.
people want to know about all the technical side of things, but the interactions with the dog and stuff, I think that gets overlooked a lot in the education stuff. So a big chunk of it will be Kristen showing people how to interact with the dogs, how to work with the dogs on location. Then the house is letting us set up a studio inside the house.
Right.
So I'm going to teach studio stuff in the house. We're going to have studio shoots. We're going to do location shoots. It's going to be fun. And yeah, it's like this big fancy house in the Highlands. It's going to be really good.
Wow, the Highlands are amazing. It was
Yeah.
amazing. So okay, my big plans. I'm starting this project of like I didn't say project about collective photo shoots. I don't know why I ended up doing this because it's crazy to have like a lot of dogs at the same time, and the whole point is like they must be I mean, not the same dog, but like they need to be the same breed,
Yep.
or like that's the whole thing. So when you like, it's complicated. I never thought it was going to be so complicated, but I really enjoy it because it kind of like makes me, I think it makes me a better photographer because you have to push yourself harder because suddenly you have 15 golden retrievers around you and you're like, "Oh my god." And so yeah, I really want to make a book out of it. So
This the Dachshund one you done as well.
yeah, yeah,
Dachshunds.
that was interesting. I mean, that was the second one. This is like a really new project, and I actually had the idea during Shatterhound, um, because I remember, I think it was one of Kaylee's talks. She said like I think one of the advice was to go where no other photographer is going, and I was like, what can I do to make something different? And I was like, I have no idea. And then I started like thinking and thinking, and I was like, what if I have a lot of dogs? And I'm really into beach sessions right now, so I was like, what if I have a lot of dogs at the beach? Like, what could go wrong? And I needed dogs that love the water, so I was like, I have to start. I mean, I need an easy dog. And I was like, golden retriever is like, they love people. Everybody loves a golden retriever and they're easy. They love water. It will be perfect. They are obsessed with water. Like, I mean, you cannot do like a part in the sand. They were just like wanted to chase the balls and be in the water. It was fun. And so I thought I was super experienced for the second one, for the Dutch ones. And I was like, we're going to do the same thing. Everything is going to be the same. I already know how to deal with a lot of dogs at the beach. Oh my God, no. Oh, and I discovered something. The people that own a Dutch hound, they're crazy. It's like a religion. Owning like that breed is like a religion. Like everything is so different, and they're like, it's like when you love cats. Cat people are different, and that's also like an interesting thing. Um, so we had all these dogs, and I never thought about their height for some reason. So when I was doing like the part that it was really close to the ocean, I was like, the waves are way too big for them. So I need to like change some stuff because they were just like swimming, and but it's interesting. Let's see what
Yeah,
happens.
I wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for dachshunds. So when I opened the old studio, the I used to have a it was it used to be a jewelry shop before it was a studio. So when I first opened that, it was just dachshund after dachshund after dachshund,
Really?
and they really sustained the business. So if it wasn't for dachshunds, I would not have a business.
You will not be speaking with me.
No, but I don't know if you can. No. So the dachshunds on the case behind the light. So if it wasn't for them, I just wouldn't have a business. It's just they really sustained the business when it was getting going. So yeah,
That's
dachshunds
amazing.
made Motley Snaps.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, those are our plans. So do you want maybe we can this could be like our last topic. Now that I mentioned that cat people, so cat clients, let's say, are really different than dog clients. Do you think that?
Um, I don't think I've done enough cats to really make a
A statement.
decision there. Yeah, it's
Okay.
um,
Cat owners, not exactly like cat people versus dog people in general.
um, I don't know. Hmm. No, I'm
They
not
are.
sure.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Like, do you like, because okay, so you have cats, you've had dogs. Do you feel that you like your love for them and how you take care of them and how you interact with them is not the same, because dogs are really different than cats?
They're-
And you're like, no, no, I feel it's the same.
Our cats are. I don't think our cats are normal. They're not typical
Well, yeah,
cats. I don't
that's true.
think. Because they're very much like the dogs.
Yeah.
So every time we go into a room, they'll come and follow us. So
Oh.
things like to get clear out of our wheelchair, we have a hoist. So like a hoist that lifts clear out of our wheelchair.
Hmm.
And every time we try and get clear out of the wheelchair, we'll have one cat climbing up the hoist and another cat climbing up Claire. So they're always,
There.
yeah. So we had boxer dogs, and boxer dogs are quite clingy. They cling to you. They're always with you, and the cats are just like that. And
So yeah, yeah, you don't have a point of comparison.
um, I don't know. Yeah, I always
Okay.
make so when clients leave the studio, I always make them look in the window to look at my cats. So
Oh,
even if they
really?
don't care about cats, I make them come to the window and look in to see the
Ah,
cats, just to show them my cats.
yeah. I
And
mean, that's a cat person behavior, because like for me, well, no, I think I do the same with my dogs, because when I have clients here, I mean, we have a lot of animals. We have 5 dogs and 4 cats. Well, my partner is a veterinary, so it kind of like makes sense that we have a lot of animals. So I usually we have like this gate for them to be like in a separate part of the garden. So my clients kind of like see them, but it's not like exactly like they're close to them. So I'm like, hey, do you want to see my dogs? And so I do that with my cats. I can, because they don't like people. But yeah, I show my animals to
yeah,
to my
no, I,
clients
I
too.
make everybody that leaves the studio look at the cats. They have to come to the window and see the cats.
Yeah, that's yeah, you love your cats.
It doesn't matter if they don't like cats; they need to come see them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's a good habit.
Yeah. Plus, they look quite strange as well because they're quite small and fence
They're
kind of bald and
they're really different. I remember when I met them, and I was like, I think, let me see if I already had yeah, I already had one of my cats I had. So my only like comparison was my own cat when I met your cats, and I was like, they're really clingy. Like they really love people, because I was like, I'm a stranger to them. And Sarah was there too. I have no idea if they already met Sarah, but I was a stranger, and they were just like there and playing and having fun. And I was like, and they're hairy. Like their fur is different.
Yeah, so cats have three layers of fur. So there's they don't have the guard layer of fur, so my two don't have the top layer of fur. So Zep has it's a wavy coat, so it's got waves in it.
Yeah.
And Fenn's kind of bald, so he's got like a hairy face. His paws are hairy, but his body's not really got anything on it. It's got like a really fine hair across it. But yeah, they're
Yeah,
just
but they're really nice. They're really cute.
I think it's because
Okay.
they're pedigree cats as well. So I think pedigree cats are often house cats. So because they're house cats, they depend on people little bit more. So
Hmm.
cats that get outside are less independent. I think they're more independent, so they're not as clingy.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we have, okay, so our four cats. Um, I like to say that two are mine and two are my partners, but he said that everyone is like everyone. But so his initial cats, I mean, he was single, so it were like his cats, right? And they're really, I mean, they're really like every single one. They have their personality, like they're really different. The other two that got here when I was here, so my cats, um, they are strays, but they came here like kittens. They were really really small, so they, I want to think they don't remember about the streets and hunger and stuff, right? But one of them, she's really clingy, like really, she talks a lot. Like if she hears you but she doesn't see you, she's like, "Where are you? Like I need to be close to you." So I'm retouching and she's here. Like I'm doing whatever, she's here. Uh so it's like they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my cats. But okay, so you want, oh, this is an interesting story. I had no idea how to pronounce your name. And I think for most of, I'm not sure if it was not a retreat. Yeah, part of like the beginning of the retreat, I think I was saying your name in a wrong way, and I was hearing you one, and I was like, who's that? I was like, like, what are you talking about? And I think it was Denise. She was like, that's now how you pronounce his name. And I was like, what do you mean? Ewan. And she was like, no. I was like, what do you mean? It's an E. And they were explaining to me, and I'm like, oh, I've been calling him the wrong name, and nobody told me. But um, yeah, I was saying Ewan for some reason.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't care. I'm not.
I know you don't care, but I was like, oh, so because I'm really self-conscious about my English. Like,
It's really
oh,
good. It's probably better than my English.
no, no. I mean, oh, that was another thing that I was like, oh my god, this is going to be hard to go to another retreat because there's a lot of like people from, like, it was like Helen. Who else had like a, well, your accent, Nicholas accent, like, so it was like a lot. I mean, and the Americans too, they have like different accents, so you have to, like, your brain is like in a, like, you have to think harder and try to, I don't know, make yourself understandable, I guess.
Yeah. And I think when we're speaking, so if I was speaking to another person from the UK, then it's harder for you to be listening into the
Oh yeah,
conversation.
no, 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 no. That would be no.
Yeah. So it's different speaking one to one, but if it's
Yeah,
speaking to
it's better,
somebody else, it's
and I think you're speaking slower. Like when you, I mean, if you're speaking to, I don't know, Nicola or something, I would be lost completely. Because for me, Nicola, like at the beginning, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just going to start thinking about something else, like what I'm going to get for dinner or something, because I have no idea what you're saying. But when you, like, maybe a couple of days later, you're like more used to the whole thing. So you're like, oh. I kind of understand what you're saying. So at the end of like it was like a week, right?
week.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, I understand everything right now. Um. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you the rest of your day for free. You're what? 5:30?
6:30.
What? Okay. So it was kind of like long. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Uh, so thank you so much for everything. Thank
No
you
problem.
for believing in your work and saying yes to the accidents that get you here. That's amazing. I hope everything, like all your big plans, um, come to a reality. I'm sure they will be. Um, have fun with Woof
Good.
Adventures and with your new puppy, and say hello to Claire. Enjoy your rest of your day. And if somebody has any questions, please feel free to comment and like and share and all that. And I'm going to do the translation thing. Hopefully, it will not be as long as I think it will be. I think there's an AI
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
probably, so it'll be fine. And yeah, it was really fun talking to you.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. Bye.